You want to bring it closer to you? That's a little far to go with a spoon. Good morning and welcome to our daily devotional from Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Warren. Very glad to have you with us on this Wednesday, June the 7th, 2023. And this week we are studying in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 9, verses 18 through 26. And this is a passage that includes two healing stories. Jesus raises a little girl from the dead, the daughter of a synagogue leader, and also heals the woman who has been suffering from hemorrhaging for 12 years. This morning, I'm going to have us focus on that story, that second healing story that occurs while Jesus is on the way to the house of the leader of the synagogue. And so I'll read those verses from Matthew, which are verses, let's see, we're in Matthew 9, verses 20 through 22, 20, 21, and 22, Matthew 9. Then suddenly a woman who had been suffering from hemorrhages for 12 years came up behind him and touched the fringe of his cloak. For she said to herself, "If I only touch his cloak, I will be made well." Jesus turned and seeing her, he said, "Take heart, daughter, your faith has made you well." And instantly the woman was made well. Well, there's several interesting things about this passage. Clearly, this is an expression of extraordinary faith. There is an accounting of it that might render it as superstition. That is the idea that you could touch a piece of cloth and that it would heal you. But I think that's a kind of narrow or a very narrow vision of this passage. To be able to see the woman's faith here, to be able to see that what's involved in this activity of faith is not just a piece of cloth, but it has to do with a woman who is acting, who is exercising her faith, and her faith in Jesus in this case. And I have, as I mentioned in our Bible study last night, there was a story of a very wealthy academic bishop who, when seeing an older woman kiss the feet of a stone statue of Jesus, he wondered if his faith had as much to commend it. And I think that is the way to look at this story, to see simple actions as actions of, to be able to see them as actions of faith and not of superstition. And another interesting point about this account in Matthew 9, it doesn't actually say that she touched him. In fact, the account says that she only said to herself, "I will touch his cloak." And then in this account in Matthew, it doesn't say whether she actually touched him. Jesus turned after she said this to herself and saw her, looked at her, and said, "Take heart, daughter, your faith has made you well." So It's possible even that this faithfulness did not even require the completion of the act, as it were, the touching of the garment. But Jesus, for his part, of course, responds with compassion to the individual. I love that phrase, seeing her, such an important phrase in our interactions with people that are hurting or suffering, that is taking enough time to be able to see them. Such an important part of our healing arts and our being present with people and participating in their physical and spiritual healing. I'd like to close this morning with this prayer from Theodore Parker, who was a 19th century abolitionist and minister. And I'll finish with this prayer. Teach us, O Lord, to use this world wisely and faithfully and well. In its daily duties and its trials, may we find the school for wisdom, for goodness, and for piety. May we learn by every trial that thou sendest be strengthened by every cross. And when we stoop in sadness to drink bitter waters, may we rise refreshed and invigorated. Help us to live at peace with our souls, disturbing no string on this harp of 1,000 chords, but attuning all to harmony, and in our life living one great triumphant hymn to thee. Withhold from us what is evil, though we beg mightily for it and with tears and prayers. Help us to live in unity with our fellow human beings, reconciling our interest to their interest, by faithfully discharging every duty, by patiently bearing with the weakness or the strength of our brothers and sisters, and loving them as we love ourselves. Teach us, O God, to love the unlovely, to love those who evil entreat us, to toil for those who are burdens in the world, and to seek to save them from ignorance, to reform them of their wickedness, and to hasten that time when all people shall recognize that thou art their God, and their brothers and sisters are indeed their brothers and sisters, and that all owe fidelity to thee and loving kindness to their fellow humans. Help us to live in unity with thee, no sloth hiding us from thy presence, no passion turning us aside from thy counsel, but with mind and conscience, with heart and soul, assimilating ourselves to thee till thy truth dwells in our understanding, and thy justice enlightens our conscience, and thy love shines a beatitude and a blessed light in our heart and soul forever and ever. Amen. Thank you for joining me this morning from Pilgrim Congregational Church. I'm Patrick Horn, and I hope that you have a very good day. Goodbye.